Hello, I'm David Vogel. I'd like to invite you to spend a few minutes with me now and allow me to show you the designs for the Oldham County Courthouse Development Project. You may have heard that we're in the process of examining two designs to build a new courthouse in Oldham County. One of the designs incorporates the existing 1874 Oldham County Courthouse. The other design clears the block and builds something new from the ground up. For the last 8 or 9 months, the Project Development Board has been considering what to do with a new courthouse opportunity. The Project Development Board is a group laid out by state statute to lead the way in creating a new courthouse in the county. The other members of the board are Circuit Court Judge Karen Conrad, District Court Judge Jerry Crosby, Circuit Court Clerk Steve Kalin, Public Member Ann Brown, and a representative of the Oldham County Bar Association, Attorney Barry Baxter. Our group has been meeting on a monthly basis, and we have selected a group from Lexington, Sherman Carter Barnhart, as the architects for this project. The legislature allocated $22 million for the Oldham County Courthouse project. We are not one of the first counties in the state to get a new courthouse. We're actually probably in the bottom third. But we're happy to be here where we are now and look forward to building something that our community can enjoy, be proud of, and will be useful for the next 100 years. I want to emphasize that the majority of the money for this project, possibly all of it, if it works out that way, will come from the state legislature. Our current courthouse is roughly 21,000 square feet. The new courthouse would be double that, 44 to 48,000 square feet, depending on which version of the courthouse is built. One of the objectives that the Project Development Board has kept foremost in its mind is trying to retain the historical character of our community's courthouse. We have a certain look in Oldham County that we're all accustomed to. We felt that our look is good as it can be, and if possible, we ask that we try to incorporate the older structure into an additional space. But we may not be able to. There are ups and downs to doing that, and I'm going to show you what those are in just a moment or two. So as we go through this, look carefully, and then later I'd like to get your feedback through email, and I'll tell you how to do that when we're finished going through the project. The first picture I'd like to show you involves retaining the 1874 courthouse. Shown right here in the middle of the picture, the historic part of this is really the facade and two side walls. The entire inside would be gutted and changed. But this is what we know as Oldham County. We asked the architects to do as much as they could to retain the appearance of our courthouse, but on a larger scale. And I think they've done a good job. The architectural features shown in the original courthouse are present in this rendition, as well as one I'll show you later. The historic courthouse, of course, features two-door entry. All people entering the courthouse after it's built are going to have to go through a metal detector. We're no longer Mayberry, apparently, and so that's part of the what's expected in the future. So this particular design has two wings, and these wings, because of what has to go on the inside of the building, the way it's laid out with 4 courtrooms and jury room, restroom, judges' offices. There's also going to be offices for the Court of Appeals in this building. Because of what has to go on the inside, the architects have had to raise this to 3 stories in order to maintain the historic facade and 2 side walls. There are 2 doors here in the front of this building. These doors are both locked. They'll be used as exits, but they will not be available as entryways. Also, you notice here that we're keeping the cupola, but the cupola is let's say, in competition with the two wings. The three-story wings cause the cupola not to be to stand out as the predominant feature on the roof of the building. I'm going to go on now to the next look here. You'll recognize this, of course, as the appearance of the building from Main and Highway 53. Probably the look of the building that most of us capture in our minds when we think about the county courthouse. It's a very attractive look, something we can all be proud of and feel good about. You start to see here on the Highway 53 side, however, that this building comes very close to the sidewalk. It's about 2 feet off the sidewalk. 3 stories, extends pretty high into the sky, and would certainly be the tallest building in LaGrange. And other than the tower at the prison, KSR would be the tallest building in Oldham County. I just happened to realize I'm not correct. I believe the Rawlings building is 3 stories tall as well, but it's on a much bigger space, so it's not as, let's say, noticeable as this might be on a smaller space. Let's go on now. Here we see the 3 stories really starts to become a little bit stark here. The sun will go down quite a bit sooner on the other side of this building because of 3 stories. You may notice also that the 3 stories is 17 feet or so taller than the fiscal court building. Here is the historic part of the 1874 building, and you see it extends out as it does now. Okay, here is the rear side now of the 3-story building with the historic structure on the front. All of these buildings are going to have parking for judges along the some aspect of the back of the building. And we've decided that it was best on the west side of the building because their option was to have the parking over here on the west or have it here on the east. All judges are going to have secure parking with brickwork and fencing and a private entry for the judges. Putting the judges' parking here requires that the entryway for the prisoners in what's called a sally port would be right here. This is the intersection of Jefferson and 53. The sally port would be very close to that intersection, which could create a traffic problem. This picture here is a little bit deceptive in the sense that there is a space for the cars to back out of the sally port and maneuver around a little bit to get back out on the street. They wouldn't be backing directly out onto the street, but it's still a concern. The final rendition we have here is what we call a site plan. This shows the footprint of the building on the courthouse block. Because of the historic structure in the middle here, and that's unable to be moved, this building would have to be built exactly as shown right here. This would be a couple feet off the sidewalk. The area shown on the south side of the building, it shows as green, but it would really be blacktop or brick because the parking would have to, for the judges, would have to come around the corner and not be available for the entire back side of the building. The History Center is over here, and there has been some discussion about making 2nd Street a one-way street to the south and putting brickwork into the street from maybe Jefferson down to halfway into the block to sort of link it in and tie it into the History Center. That's an idea that's been presented. It has not been presented to LaGrange City Council nor approved by the mayor or city council. It's just it's an idea that's out there. Now let's take a look at the front side of the 2-story scheme. This two-story building would replace everything that's on the courthouse block now. The old building, the jail, everything would be taken down and replaced with a two-story building. This two-story building is approximately 4,000 fewer feet than the three-story building. Of course, the first thing that is noticeable here immediately is that the cupola is the highest point of this building. It is not in competition with the two wings as it is on the three-story building. The cupola is an important part of many courthouses, including Oldham County, that people recognize that that is the top of our courthouse. Right here on the entryway, you see this is a door, this is a glass panel, and this is a door. As I mentioned, everybody entering the courthouse, once it's constructed, is going to have to pass through a metal detector. Under this scenario, it will be slightly easier inside to manage that. People will pass in one door and pass out the other door. So a person would be checked going in, but not checked coming out. We also have, just as in the other building, we have two doors on the first floor that are locked. You cannot enter them, but they'll be available for exits if, in the event of an emergency. On the roof of the entryway to the building, it's kind of hard to pick up on the videotape here, but is a fencing area. Over the current courthouse entryway, there's a small fenced area. There's a fenced area here, and there's a fenced area up there. Again, to maintain the historic character and be a very strong reminder of what has been our courthouse in the past. If this building's been chosen, it's been suggested that we take the interior walls and put historical paintings or murals, do some things inside the building that will retain and magnify the historical character of our community. And that seems like a really good idea. Now let's look at another view of the front side of the two-story structure. Again, this is the view from Main and Highway 53, 1st Street. I think if you had been out of town for some period of time and come back, you may just automatically assume that this has been there all along. But it does, again, retain much of the historical flavor of our community. I think our architects, Sherman Carter Barnhart, have done a really good job of following through with what the Project Development Board asked of them. And that was to we are happy with our current look, take and magnify it, give us more of it, and don't lose the historical character of our downtown. Courthouse Square is a very important place. It's the heartbeat of the downtown area, the center spot of our county. If you think of Oldham County, one of the first things you think of is the courthouse as an identifying feature. So we want to keep that same historical perspective if we can moving forward. This is the side view from the east side of the courthouse. Here is the entryway, of course, and then coming along here. In our current courthouse, we have a series of windows in the middle of the building. We have a series of windows here also that would reflect our current courthouse. This courthouse, as you can see, is not as dominant in relation to the fiscal court building as a three-story would be, and it would be perhaps more in keeping with the size of the other two-story buildings in downtown LaGrange. It is right along Highway 53, but as I'll mention in a couple of minutes here, because this is a brand new structure, we're not limited to exactly how this is placed on the block. It could move to the south and not be so close to the highway. Here is the rear view of the two-story structure. Again, you see here, I hope you can pick this up, secure parking for the judges behind the fenced and bricked area. This area extends all the way along the building so that all the judges could get on their cars behind this on Jefferson Street. We wouldn't have to go around the building to the History Center, as would be necessary with the three-story building. The Sally Port has moved from the northeast corner, or whatever the corner here is, over to the middle of the building. And so that makes that easier. They would back out and come back out into Jefferson Street traffic a little easier with this building. This is the intersection of Jefferson and 53 right here, to give you some orientation. Someone asked if the Porsche comes with the courthouse, and the answer is no, it doesn't. All right, here is the site plan of this building on the courthouse block. As I mentioned, the near proximity to Highway 53 could be reduced by moving this building to the west. It's possible that this building could come all the way out to where the sidewalk is here, or maybe even a foot further or so, if 2nd Street became a one-way street going south. The idea has come up to change 2nd Street into one-way south. People could get out of their cars in front of the History Center or keep on going, and put brickwork in the street between Jefferson and the middle of the courthouse block to tie in the brickwork at the History Center to the courthouse. Of course, moving the courthouse to the west would require reconfiguration of the sidewalk here. I'm not sure if that would involve moving the statue or not. You can see, looking at it right now, the statue is not in the middle of the block. It's a little bit to the east. It might have to come over some. I'm not sure if the front door of this building were right here. The Oldham era has come out with pictures of these courthouse ideas, and I hope you'll look at that. I hope you'll look at this again. I'm happy to talk with anybody in the community. Please express your ideas to Judge Karen Conrad, Judge Jerry Crosby, Barry Baxter, attorney, or Ann Brown, or Steve Kalin, a circuit court clerk. If you'd like to communicate with me, my email, which will show on the screen now, is dvogel@oldhamcountyky.gov. Be happy to hear if you like the first design, or if you like the second option, which is more appealing to you. I'd ask you to send your comments with your name, address, and phone number if I need to reach you for any clarification. I'm not going to accept anonymous comments from individuals who won't identify themselves. I don't know where those may come from. The comments here are limited to people from Oldham County. We're not accepting comments from people in Indiana or any other kind of counties in Kentucky or across the country who may get a hold of this. It's real easy on the internet to send somebody something, but this is for Oldham County people to decide, not for people outside the county to have any voice in what's done here. So in order for me to be assured that you're an Oldham County resident, please identify yourself, and it's all confidential, and I'm happy to talk with you at any time about these ideas. The Project Development Board expects this building to be under construction in the fall of next year. Between now and then, the IGA building in Crestwood is going to be remodeled into a temporary facility for the courthouse, and everybody in the courthouse will be moving down there for about a year and a half to a 2-year period. Once construction begins on this building, we think it's going to take about 18 months, and the 18 months should be up in about the summer or fall of 2022. So that's our timetable. I hope you like these designs. The project board is Development Board is really happy with what the architects have come out with. We asked for something that is reminiscent and reflective of what we have now, and I think they have done a very good job. I hope you think so as well. Thank you for being with me today, and I look forward to talking with you at your convenience.